All right, here we go. Let's talk some Packers Bears coming up on Sunday. We, of course, are your home for the Green Bay Packers. We're also your home for Carry the G Radio Tuesdays, 12 to 2. Aaron Nagler from Cheesehead TV joins us now. Good morning, Nags.
Morning, gentlemen.
This should be a fun romp on Tuesdays. In that spot, Billy Schmidt will join you. Wayne Larrabee with some cameos as well. Let me guess. You're going to talk Packers.
That would be the design of said program, yeah. But who knows, man? You know, we might just talk about Star Wars the whole time. I don't care. They're giving me a microphone, Zabe. What the hell is going on out here?
Good way to get canceled there, Nagler. Is we hired you to talk Packers. Why is all this Star Wars?
Why is he talking Ahsoka? That don't make some sense.
Butchie Nagler is the biggest Star Wars guy.
Yeah. Oh, you're one of those people.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Yeah. Smart.
I apologize.
I have never seen one. Sorry, Nags.
It's all good. Hey, people are into whatever they're into, man. It's all good. If you're into it, cool. If you're not, that's dope. I get it.
Butchie, why do you got to be that way? Why do you got to say you're one of those people?
Yeah, that's
what.
But
it's so true though. It's those people. What? Like, I mean, it is. Hey, don't look at me like that. Josh comes in dressed up on May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, of course.
Go sit in the corner. Go sit in the corner.
My Star Wars Rose Bowl.
I have no problem being the oddball. All right, I'm 7 feet tall.
Good,
I'm not sexy. No one likes me. I get it. I have no problem being an oddball.
Say you had to like Star Wars.
I mean, at least you're self-aware, Butch. That's good, man.
Absolutely,
good.
Next, 100%. I am 100%
100% self-aware. I like that. A man comfortable in his own skin. I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Our conversation with Aaron Nagler brought to you by Miller Lite, Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference, and by Rogers Behavioral Health. I gave a very rose-colored glasses assessment of what this Packer season could be earlier in the show.
Right.
Maybe even more rosy than you were able to summon from the depths of your fanatic Packer fandom. But I want to run it by you to see what I could be missing here.
Gotcha. All right.
I look at this team that won 7 games last year when just about everything that could go wrong did go wrong. They had to put on a hell of a rally to even get back in the conversation. Rodgers broke his thumb. There was chemistry issues with the wide receivers. There were signs that were not even being told to the wide receivers. Ha, gotcha. That's not the sign for that play. You didn't tell me. I know. That's part of the trick. You need to learn it anyway. Okay, the red zone was a disaster. Joe Barry did Joe Barry things yet again. Kenny Clark says, don't worry, we got a new approach for Sunday.
We got a new plan. Oh, I'm so excited about the new plan.
New plan, exactly. Okay, and they still won 7 games. Who did they lose last year? Put 12 aside for a second.
Right.
Czabe, Big Dog, and Crosby expired. Those are the players that are supposed to be moving on. They were old, okay? As much as they're fan favorites and favorites.
I'm with you.
Lazard and Lowry were just guys at the end of the day. I know Lazard's a great blocking wide receiver, but replacement level players. Jerron Reed was expendable. He got a ton of defensive big bodies there. And Rodgers leaves behind a legacy Nagler. I don't think he left behind elite production, and there's a difference. I will let you have the floor on this.
Thank you.
But when I look at the losses of a 7-win team in which everything seemingly went wrong, why shouldn't I be rosy about improving on that?
Okay, I like the cut of your jibs, Abe. I like where you're coming from, and I understand it, especially from a gentleman wearing a NFL hat a la Rob Lowe. I just hope everyone has fun. I'm appreciating
Rob Lowe hat.
I'm appreciating it. Okay, the Rodgers production quip, that's okay. I understand what you're saying as far as he wasn't up to his MVP level that we had seen the 2 previous years, right?
He was middle of the NFL pack in production.
No question about it. The man did play with a broken thumb for the balance of the season, and that is going to affect anybody's production. Now, should he have sat? Whatever, you can get into that argument if you want. I don't care, but that it's a pretty major component to the reasons behind the lack or dip in production. Now, everything else, I'm kind of on board with. I get where you're coming from, especially as far as like everyone talking about, oh, they lost all these veterans. Yeah, and all of those guys were there because Rodgers wanted them there. Like that's not telling tales out of school. they had chemistry with Rodgers. They didn't have chemistry with Jordan Love. You're not losing chemistry with this new quarterback. Yes, would you like a veteran presence or two, like at times in certain moments? Yeah, probably, but it's a complete roster reset. You want these guys to get the experience, to play together. So I'm down with that. I understand the idea that you haven't lost that much, right? Now, when it comes to wins and losses, man, I don't know, it's a tough league, dude. And 7 wins, I think a big part of 7 wins is because they had a superstar veteran quarterback. You know, for all the lack of production, what have you want to talk about, Rodgers gets them into and out of plenty of situations that Jordan Love is probably going to be a little overwhelmed with. And that's not a knock on Jordan. It's just the nature of the beast. What you've seen, what you've banked as far as your memory and knowing, oh, and that safety rotates, I know they're trying to trap me and blah, blah, blah. You know, all of those things that Rodgers did throughout the years that we as the fandom and the watching public have completely probably at this point taken for granted, and it's seeped into us as far as, oh, that's just how you play quarterback. Well, yeah, that's how Rodgers played quarterback for 15 years. It's time for a major recalibration when it comes to the quarterback position and what we're looking at. And that leads to wins and losses more than any other position in the league. And that's where, I'm on board with what you're saying, Czabe, but man, the quarterback switch is a major component, and it's something that you can't just snap your fingers and say, oh, Rodgers' team won 6 games his first year as a starter, and he was really good that year. You know, it's a tough component, man.
But Nick, you're talking about the quarterback position. Let's talk about also, there was veterans that were in that wide receiver room as well. Right now, you got 3 guys that have hamstring issues. You got 6 guys. Half of your wide receiver group has an issue already.
Yeah, but that's week 1 stuff. That's not like season long. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Season 1 stuff. But I'm just saying in general, you have no veteran leadership. That has been my biggest thing with this. I'm all for your youth movement. All for it. Right. Understand it has to happen. It has to happen with every organization. But not to have somebody in there that can teach the young guys the expectations is a big red flag for me. And now all of a sudden you have 3 of the 6 with hamstring issues.
Right.
Your quarterback's, if he wants to develop, he's got to throw the ball to somebody. And he's got to grow with somebody. And there's got to be a veteran leader out there at some point that says, hey, by the way, like throw the ball here next time. Or going to be none of that. There's going to be no competition to Jordan Love. Everything that Jordan Love is going to do, these young guys are going to say, okay, yeah. And I don't know if that's always healthy.
I totally get what you're saying. And I understand their kind of thinking behind, all right, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off. We're going to get rid of all the veterans and we're just going to grow with the young guys. To your point, yeah, you probably would prefer to have that voice in there. And I think they did kind of look around during free agency, but they probably didn't find a fit as far as both within the room and how they wanted to use the rotation, coupled with the salary, whatever salary demands were on offer. I mean, did you really want to bring in another Sammy Watkins? You know what I mean? We're talking about hamstring injuries. It's like Sammy, at least he sunned the Bears once there in prime time week 2 last year, and then he dipped. But it's like, so okay, what should they have kept Randall Cobb? Like Randall Cobb was always injured. You know, it's like at some point they decided they got to turn the page there. They did it in a very dramatic way. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, I can't kill them for it. Again, it's a year where you're building a foundation, especially on offense. You still have veteran leaders in the locker room. You still have Aaron Jones. You still have David Bakhtiari, Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark. It's not like they're bereft of veteran voices. But to your point, in the room itself,
that's a different.
To say this is how it's done. We've heard Devontae Adams talk about that with Jordy Nelson, how important that was for his development. I hear what you're saying there. But, man, you can't fill and execute every single position perfectly. I mean, I think wide receiver and safety are your 2 that you look at this year and go, maybe you could have done something a little different. But again, you can't make every move every offseason. So I have a hard time killing Brian for it. I understand his thinking behind it. But hey, we're here now, week 1. And to your point, we got 3 young dudes who are already kind of questionable with their hamstrings. Now, who's going to step up? I guess Luke Musgrave is going to get 100 targets on Sunday.
So that was going to be my question is for, the Packers fans out there like myself that like to worry a lot. Okay. So now we're going into this, this new experience, this new journey. We got Jordan Love. He's got young talent around him. Hamstring injuries. Oh boy. Okay. Now we're kind of limping into game 1 in Chicago. They've been waiting 30 years for this opportunity.
Yeah, they have.
And now I'm going, okay, Mr. Nagler, tell me who's going to be the saving grace.
Oh, come on. Did you miss the summer? It's Malik Heath, baby. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding totally, but I mean, Malik Heath can only do so much.
Kidding,
he's
sort
an
of.
undrafted
Yes,
rookie.
okay.
But there's a reason he's on the 53. I will say that, right? There's a reason that they kept him. They didn't put him on the practice squad because they know he can contribute in case. And guess what? This is in case. If you got 3 guys who are down, and we don't know yet, who knows? They could get out of practice this afternoon, and Christian or Romeo or all 3 of them could be out there. We don't know. But if they aren't able to go, you have a guy who at least has run the offense with Jordan Love throughout the entirety of the offseason. It's not like they're completely bereft. And also, by the way, you still have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon and a really good offensive line. I mean, A.J. Dillon ran through this Bears team last year in Chicago. Go back and watch that game. They could not stop him. He scored that touchdown off the left side, was beautifully blocked. I mean, he tore through this defense. And that was with David Bakhtiari on the sideline. David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins are going to be 100% ready to go on Sunday. So it's like, I understand it's frustrating, and I get like we all want to arrive at Christmas Day with all our presents open. But, if the guys are banged up, like Matt said yesterday at the podium, nobody cares. The league doesn't care. The league goes on, and you got to make do, and you got to make it work. And that is the challenge week in and week out of a 17-game season. Man, I'm excited regardless. I think they'll have a plan, and they'll know what they want to do, and they're going to execute at a high level. I'm excited.
Yeah, you're right. The league doesn't care. Like Tommy Lee Jones
at all.
To Dr. Richard Kimball. I didn't kill my wife. I don't
care. Exactly.
I don't care.
I got a job to do.
Got a job to do,
good
indeed.
movie.
Yeah.
Carrie, okay, Butch, you describe it in one quick sentence.
Go ahead.
A guy is on the loose because they thought he killed his wife. He didn't kill his wife, trying to figure it out. He's going into hospitals, all those sorts of things. Falls through the top of this.
I think he's actually
all the
seen it.
above.
I think he actually has seen this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a really rich.
There's a
Is that
fake
an ongoing thing? Butchie talking about movies he hasn't seen?
Yeah, he's
they
seen
don't
like
get
7
movie.
movies
Comes,
total.
We put a quarter in for the can Butch describe it accurately enough in one paragraph.
That's
that was
amazing.
good. Really has to be done. I love the speech Nagler where he's like, I want every outhouse, hen house, whorehouse checked in a 5 square mile radius. Your fugitive's name is Dr. Richard Kimball.
That's the way he drips with condescension when he says, your fugitive's name is Dr. Richard Kimball. Well, go get him.
Exactly.
I love that movie.
Go get him.
Love
Go
that
get our guy. Okay, 207th edition coming up on Sunday. We're your home with the Green Bay Packers, and we are your home with the Carry the G radio every Tuesdays with Mr. Nagler from noon to 2. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys next week.
Coming up, Banger Rejoin.